Okay, Frank, you want to introduce yourself and take it away?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm Frank, pronouns he, him. I'm currently in Montreal in Jojage. Yeah, this is my first workshop. I'm excited to show you some Blender basics, like camera movements, creating dust particles, stuff that I used for my flowers animation. I'm guessing people have seen it already. Otherwise, I can maybe just show it real quick. Yeah, it's just it was a project I was working on just like in the early summer. Maybe took like a month to work on. A lot of trial and error, you know, just exploring different programs and different methodologies to like, I never like made it a full length sort of animation. So this is sort of a first try and I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, so I'll just start with territorial acknowledgement. As we know, yesterday was Truth and Reconciliation Day. So I want to take a moment to honor the lives of children and families who were subjected to those maltreatments. I, for one, feel that we must stay connected to the present issues concerning the decolonization of land and global catastrophes which have been happening daily. This project that I'm presenting today was sort of a call for action for us to stay vigilant and be aware of the consequences of our human actions upon nature and other living species. That being said, I would like to begin by acknowledging that I'm currently located on the unceded indigenous lands of Jojage. The Kanagakage Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we gather today. Okay, so maybe just take a quick poll. Is there one of the four like tutorials that people would like to start with, or should we just go down the list and see where we go like that way? So.
I put that in the chat.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the first one has a lot of steps, so we can go through it slowly and make it work. So I guess I'll just share my screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Oh, let's see if we can change that.
You want to try down?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. I'll play. Give the share sound. Share. Screen share window is closed. Weird. Okay, wait a second. Okay. You see this?
Yep.
Okay. So if everyone just wants to open a Blender file. And yeah, so I'll just start. So initially, I'm just going to move this little, oops, this tab. Okay. Okay. So we should start in EV setting. And then we're going to scale the cube a little bigger, probably this big, and go to your y-axis and just bring it up to the bottom. And okay. Maybe it's a little too big. Let me see. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so now we're just going to click on the particle system. There we go. We're going to change the emitter to a hair, and we can press Z to go to wireframe. And we're going to open source just a little lower. right here. And we're going to change from faces to volume. If there's anything at any point, somebody, you can speak up and I'll slow down or whatever, just in case somebody missed a detail or something. Okay, so now we can do Shift A. We're going to add an icosphere. And then we can move it out of the way. Oh, actually, I'm just gonna redo that for a second, because when you add the icosphere, you can open this little icon here, and then we'll turn down the subdivisions to 1. And now we can move it back. Okay. And okay, next, press Tab. We can go to the icosphere and just edit some of these vertices. Oops. I feel like this was okay, just to sort of warp the shapes a little bit so it's not a perfect shape. So you can just click on the dots and sort of manipulate how you prefer. So just like that. Okay, and then get out of tab and we can scale that smaller. Okay.
Frank, I think I missed how to move the vertices around.
Oh yeah, okay. So here, I'll just go back. If you hit tab, you'll see on the left side you have your edit like parameters.
Mm-hmm.
So with this move arrow, you can just sort of click on each corner and then sort of warp them. I don't know if that works for you.
I'm clicking on it, but it's not actually letting me select any of the vertices. None of them are lighting up for me, like with those little points.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes I feel like this was happening to me yesterday as well. Maybe just sort of, because see, when I'm on this arrow, I can't really grab it, but if I use this one, I can just click on one of them and then I can pull or push. Also, if you can't really modify the icosphere right now, it's not a big problem for the ultimate, like to create the whole thing. It's just to have more randomness in the particle system. So even if you can't, maybe just scale it down a little bit, move it to the side, and it's fine. We can move on to the next part. Okay, so now we'll select the cube, go into properties of the particle system, and render settings just a little lower here. We'll open this tab up. We're gonna change path over here to object. And so the object right here will click the icosphere. So now we see particles have appeared in our cube. Is that working for everyone? Okay. So the particles are going to be really big right now. So we can change the scale right here to maybe 0.01. So they're very small. There you go. And we can, the random size, scale random, we'll put that to 1. So 0.01 and 1. And we can click on the, I think if we go back up, we'll turn on the advanced setting. Now we're going to turn on the rotation. Where's the rotation? Turn on rotation. Am I missing something?
Is that it there on the It's on the right. Is it just that checkbox?
Maybe.
A little higher?
Oh, right here. Yes. Okay, perfect. See, this is the small details that sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, is this on the top or is this on the side? Thank you very much. So turn on rotation, then we can, let's see, just click on your Y here. We'll be in Y view. I'm just moving my little tab. Okay, and then we'll do Control-Alt-0 to snap the camera inside of the cube, and hit the tilde key and go to front view. And now the camera should be in. So we can go to solid view, and we'll just sort of zoom the, oops. We'll bring the camera inside the cube. A little more. Okay, now we're inside the cube. We see our molecules. Okay. Camera inside the cube. So now we're just going to select the camera. So just the little screen of your window here. And in the camera settings down here, we're gonna, the focal length, we'll just put it to 32. And if you see the sides like this, we could just grab your cube again and just sort of scale it up. So it's sort of, you don't see like the sides. Okay, so now we selected the cube, the particles, because they're connected together. So we'll go back to the particle system, the little dots here, and particle settings in emission tab. So emission tab right here, change the orientation axis to normal. Where is this? Am I missing something? Emission tab, change under rotation. Okay, so it's under the rotation tab. Okay, my bad. Okay, open up your rotation tab and orientation axis to normal. Okay, sorry if I'm a little lost. I hope you guys are not lost. So now the randomize will turn up. So each particle is going to be different. We can also turn up the phase and the other randomize right here. So everything will be different. Okay, now click on your cube, the particles. We're going to select the material tab, the little globe down here, and we're going to remove, oops, we're going to click on your principal BDSF and just remove that. And we're going to switch to principal volume. So just go back in there and add principal volume. Now we can set the density to 0.14. Okay, that's good. So now we can press Z to go back into our rendered view. So now we're starting to see where we're going with this. Then we'll click on the little world icon here and change the background color to just a complete black. Then we can Z, go back to solid. And now we're going to select the point lamp. I'm going to zoom out. Oops. Where's my lamp? I'll just click on here. Okay, my light is here. Maybe my cube is too big. That's why it's. I'll just scale it back down a little bit. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Okay, so bring that, the light point, just bring it up top. It's a little too high, actually. Maybe this cube is too big. I'll keep it here. Okay. So now that we have our light selected, we'll put the power to 300 watts. And you can also just choose color. I'm gonna go with like a light blue. Okay.
And is that changing? Oh, that's the light.
Yeah, this is going to be like the general lighting. It could be any type of, because the background is still completely dark, it's still black, but there's going to be like a hue to the scene. And then we're going to add a second light, which will give more of like a spotlight effect. So with your light here, just Shift D, copy one, and then we'll just choose spot. And then you can, your size can be a little, maybe like around 30 or something, and then we can move it a little bit like this. So you're gonna get like sort of like a ray of light shining down. Okay, so we can we'll put the power of this one to 1000. So this one will be a little more powerful. Okay, so now we're going back in our camera mode. Okay, we're here. We'll Z to rendered. Okay. Oh, and this is this. We can change the second light. We can also change that to a different color as well if you want. So you can have like a different sort of hue. I think mine is not working because of. I'm just gonna click out of here. Where is my, not this. Okay, I think I'm just gonna, my scale is just too big. I'm just gonna bring it down to more of like a rectangle and bring it back down. Okay. And okay, so now we're in render view. We'll select the camera. Go into the camera here, click on the depth of field, and we can hit Z, go back to wireframe. Now we're gonna add an empty. So Shift A, and then choose the empty plane axis. And you can just move it over a little bit and scale it down a little bit. Okay, and then so now click on your camera again. We'll in depth of field. Now we can focus on the empty. So that'll create sort of the effect that we're looking for. And we can do the f-stop. We'll just drop that to 0.2 in the aperture tab. And now we can go Z, rendered view. Now we see our particles lighting up, and you can see there's like a little blur around them too, so that's very good. Now we'll just go, we'll click on those, go to a particle system, and depending on how many particles you want, I'll just go up to 2000 here, so we have more showing up in our scene. So yeah, you can have as many as or little as you want, and then we can go.
I guess this is. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could use the same process for like stars, but I suppose you could like make the glow a little bit less.
Yeah, exactly, because
cool.
Yeah, these are just like basic little little tests that we can do, and then you can modify. You can copy paste into any project. You can modify afterwards. So that's the fun part. It's like now that you have this process like done, you can just copy paste. So
that's awesome.
Okay, so we're almost done this part. Okay, we'll click on your camera, get out of that scene, and then just click on your initial icosphere that's like on the outside of the cube. And we're going to add a material. So just go on your bottom right here, add new. And we're going to drag the color picker on emission. Where's the emission? Right here. So this would bring it up just a little bit. You don't have to change the color just to bring it up. And now it'll make the particles sort of glow a little more. So if you go back, now you see it a little more. So that's it. We can, if you go all the way up, it's very bright. If you go down. So yeah, these things are all, you know, customizable, which is the good part. But I don't know if everyone was able to get to this point, but that is the end of the dust particle workshop.
I'm really excited to try this and make them look like stars, or even like a bubble. Like I guess if you're underwater too, or underwater.
Yeah, because now we're using this icosphere, but it could be any element that you create that when you, with your color picker, you can connect to any object. So it could be anything, you know, it could be, doesn't have to just be these little shapes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna save this, but you guys could, so you can go back to it and play around if you want.
So how do you, does it automatically save as like the file it's supposed to?
I would just do like save as and then name it and
Blend. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, okay. Now
If I wanted to, real quick before we go to the next one, if I wanted to like save just this camera shot as just a JPEG or a PNG.
Oh yeah. Well, you'd have to just render image. So if you click on your render, usually in Eevee, it's really quick. So yeah, boom. So this is like sort of a good preview, and then you can just click on image, save as, and then you can choose your versions here: TIFF, PNG, JPEG. Yeah, and
it'll just look like that.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, you know, and then you can change, you can animate, like you can, if you choose this, then you can add maybe more of an animation and have the whole block spinning. And then so you could render like a short animation of just all these particles just floating in space.
Yeah, cool.
Perfect.
And one more thing before we
go. No, I'm here for questions.
Before we go to the next workshop, why don't you tell us a bit about you and your practice, how you got into this kind of work and what you do with it now, and maybe we can play through the flower video.
Okay, yeah. So let me just, I open my how do I do this? Thumbnails. Then do you think I'd have to yeah, I'd have to, do you see my screen right now? No. Yeah? Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I'd have to reshare if I was sharing a different video.
You may just be able to drag it or minimize, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we can just watch the video real quick and I'll speak. Okay.
Oh wait, I think you either will have to minimize Blender or you'll have to drag the window into where Blender is now, your screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Wait. Okay, new share, screen. Okay, perfect. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, here we go. So this portion of it is going to be the next part. It's going to be the cinematic lighting.
Spiritual specimens, composing sets of data, algorithm seeds evolving into digital fruit. With perspective, we can focus solutions aim to analyze and develop experimental biodiversity within new digital landscapes. Floating amongst dust particles in our ethereal presence, we fluctuate slowly, glowing with soothing and lightning, symbolizing artifacts of discovery. In these times of ecological survival and environmental degradation, we must sustain new ways of biological cultivation to balance out the expansive states of decay, focusing on restorative methods of creation for future layers of life and preservation.
Otherworldly.
So that's the video that we're basing this workshop on. Let me go back to Blender. Okay. Oh, shared. I'll share it again.
Michael asked if that was
Oh,
all created in Blender.
yes, everything was created in Blender except some of the videos that are on like the flower petals. I used I processed a little bit with TouchDesigner. I'm not as as good with TouchDesigner yet to do an actual workshop about that. But yeah, it's like another node-based like connector type of software that you can do a lot of video creation and yeah, it's really good for like projections. I haven't really had time to like actually do like a proper like projected version of some of these TouchDesigner tests that I've been doing. Recently I started this like I'm exploring more like slime molds and sort of coding something like that, and then I'm trying to do the same thing as well with like Maximus P. It's hard to like combine everything together. Just watching a lot of tutorials and just trying to figure out how to make everything work for a few of my like school projects right now. And but yeah, I spend most of my off time just looking for more information about these things. But yes, the animation was pretty much all Blender except a few of the video files that I used for the materials, basically, because I wanted it to be more lively and not just stay like a stable image. But yeah, most of it was just camera movements, tiny bit of animation on the flower petals, and yeah, it was pretty simple. It was just a lot of setting up new scenes, different angles, rendering, and just trying different lightings, having like a lot of little light sources floating around, so it feels more ethereal.
Yeah, and that it does, and I can see how like the camera movement is like important. Like you said, so it's simple on the flowers, but all the spinning and the going through it, and like is that something I remember I have like zero knowledge about that kind of stuff. So when you do camera movement and you're going through 3D objects, is that something that you can do with your mouse, if that makes sense, or are you pinning points all along?
Both. There's a few methods. In this tutorial, I have two different versions of camera movements that I actually found out about after that I made this video. So it would be interesting I've only done very short tests with it right now. But those are, yeah, it's very easy. You can set up points. You can move around with your trackpad, or yeah, we'll get to that in very shortly.
Okay.
So we can, I think I'm gonna have to reopen. Every time I undo the share screen, my Blender crashes. So I'm just gonna...
Zoom.
So yeah, the next one we'll do is sort of like my intro with like the titling. I was like, how do you do simple text animation with that like sort of cinematic like lit lighting that like a lot of like a trailer for a movie or something like that, you always have that logo shining in the background, and then you want, you know, to just like highlight that. So I'm just gonna make a new folder, a new Blender file, and okay, wait, let me share this. Okay, share screen, Blender, share. Okay, do you see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, we'll be in Eevee. So your render is in Eevee. You can delete your cube, and then Shift A will add your text. And then we're just going to align that. So click on the text, and then right here in alignment, center and center. So now we're perfectly in the middle. Hit tab. So now we can edit. So you can write whatever. So I'm going to write workshop and then tab. And then we can go to the geometry tab. Oh, right here. I mean, sorry. Okay. Now we're just gonna extrude this to 0.5 or 0.05, and the depth to 0.01. So now we see it's a little smoother. So it's going to be good when the lighting sort of reflects on it. It's not going to be as sharp. It's going to shine nicely around it. So that's good. And then we can hit the tilde key. And then just go to top view. Actually, I'm going to delete my camera. X, delete, tilde, top. And then now if we added camera, we'll be center. And then just maybe bring it back up. So perfect. Okay, so now we're just gonna Shift A, add a circle. So in your curve, add a circle, and then add a light point. Okay, and then we're gonna click on constraints icon. Properties for this one, add, and we're gonna do follow path. And then we're going to select the Bezier. So now we're on the circle. So now click on the circle, and we can scale it up by holding S. Okay. Then you hit tab. So now you'll have these dots appear, and now we can, again, I think it's a little weird. Okay, now I think you have to use this arrow, this to sort of like move it around. So grab your dot and then just bring it closer to your word, sort of like this. So now the light is going to like sort of follow this path. So this shape could be anything. You could create a crazy shape and it would go around it. So now, okay, tab again. Okay, so that's how it was. Then we'll pull up the animation here, and then just maybe set that to 120 frames. It doesn't have to be, or you can leave it at 250. It's just going to be a slower animation. That's totally fine. Okay, now we're going to select the light point, and on the constraints, you're going to set the offset to 0. So it's right here. So your first keyframe here, your first frame at 0 here, you're gonna right click on the 0, 0, insert a keyframe. Then you're gonna go to your last frame. We're gonna right click here, right 100, and then you're gonna insert keyframe. And now you can see it's following the curve. Okay, so now we're going to go to the world settings on the little globe here. Set the background to black. Okay, and then select the word. We're going to add a new shader. On the material tab. And then we can just go down, turn the metallic to 100, and we can turn the roughness down. So you can keep a little bit, but it's really up to you. Again, these things are very customizable. It's just gonna affect the way it looks a little bit, so you'll see. Okay, and metallic, and then go in the EV, go in the your scene, and then we're gonna turn on the bloom and the screen space reflections, these two tabs. Now we're going back to the light icon. We'll set the power down here, just a little light, set the power to 50. And now we select the busy. And we're just gonna bring it down a tiny bit so it's sort of like behind the word. So it'll create more of like a shining effect. Oops. Okay. Now we're going to go to the shader viewport. So just up here, shading. Okay. Select your word. Oops, where am I in animation? Oops. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now we're in the shader viewport. You can bring this up a little bit if you want to see. Okay, so now we're just going to add, I'm going to Shift A, search, write color ramp. Let's put that there. And then color ramp, we're going to connect the color tab to the roughness. So roughness is right here. And then we're going to add a noise texture. So Shift A, type in noise texture. Connect that to the side here. Just color to FAC. And then we're going to add a mapping node. So mapping right here. So mapping, so we're going to set it to the vector entry. So vector to vector. Perfect. And then a texture coordinate. We're adding that. So texture coordinate. We'll just set that here. That one is going to be object to vector. There we go. Okay, so now here we're going back to the color ramp. We're just going to bring the black shader to maybe the middle. Depends. Again, it depends on your preferences. I'll go around the middle. And then we're going to add, just go under. We're going to add a bump node. And we're going to put it into the original shader. So it's going to be normal to normal. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to add a second color ramp. Right here. And then that's going to go, the color is going to go into the height. And then we're adding a new noise texture. And then put that into the FAC. And so now the noise detail, Oops. Okay. Detail, you can bring it up. And now you see it's getting, the shininess is becoming a little more eroded, a little noisier. Okay, so that is there. And then the bump, the strength will bring it down. Maybe around here. And then the white, so the first color ramp was the black, this one's going to be the white. This one, you just sort of move it again. So now you see you're getting sort of like a textured metallic effect that some of it's a little sharper and some of it's more noisy and textured. And then you can also just change the base color to whatever you like. Okay. And now we can go to rendered view, or I'll go to my layout, sorry. Rendered view, camera view, and if you play your animation, you see the lighting sort of going around. So for my animation, I used maybe a couple of these actually. So this you could just copy paste and you can turn them around or whatever. So they would maybe react in different ways. So you have 2 light points and you can change your light colors. You can change pretty much anything you want. Maybe I'll turn this a little back. Oh, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, you can really tell the lighting effect is just looking really nice here. And again, so now that you have an animation, you could just render animation, and now it's going to create frame by frame. You're going to have to choose a folder to send all these in, because it sends to like this like default folder that sometimes it's just a little complicated to go and find it. So when you're in your, so in this scene tab or the output properties, this TMP folder is what you want to look out for basically. So you have to open that. I'm just going to go in my Blender file and then I'm just going to accept. And now I'm in my Blender file. And then, so now that when you render your animation, each image will be in PNG. And then after that, you can compile all those and then render your actual animation again. So I didn't really put this in the workshop, but I guess we could I could show you maybe a different, I don't know, does anybody want to see how to render, or do you guys know?
I feel like I'm more familiar with that process. I just know that like I had to create video tutorials on like basic 3D printer 101, CNC 101, and I'm definitely going to use this to make like the title intro.
Yeah.
So is there a way, like if I have a image and say it's a texture of rocks, I can take that image and just put it in here so that the word has rocks, but it'll still have the shadow?
Yeah, again, these lightings, this I could just delete this word and then just import a totally different element, and then it's anything is possible really.
Yeah, it seems like there's so many tools in this program.
Yeah. And then with the camera movements, we'll see with these curves, you can really get the camera to follow your ideal shape, so you can do really wild animations. So I'm just gonna, okay. Well, I'll start a new file. Let me see. New. Okay, I'm just gonna take a sip. Yeah, now we're gonna try just a smooth camera animation. There's two different tutorials that I put in the PDF. So the first one, we're gonna open a scene with nothing in it, so you can just delete everything. So now we're gonna do Shift A, add. I'm gonna use the monkey head because it's just simple, and this you can just move to the side. But this could be any it could be your title, it could be any type of 3D element that you want to import inside your scene. So yeah, just be sure that it's there when you start. And then right under here, in your scene collection, click right, new collection, and this we're just going to call camera rig. Okay, so now that we're in this, now we can add a camera. We're gonna add an empty cube, and we're gonna add a Bezier curve. There we go. Now we're just gonna connect the camera and the empty. So just select both of these, and you're gonna hit Control P, and you're gonna select object. I'm gonna redo it because why is this not? I don't want my camera to be here. I want, for some reason, I want the empty to take over. Okay, here we go. So maybe sometimes I don't know why one works over the other. I just do Control Z just to go back and then until I get the empty. So now that that's selected, select the camera and Bezier. So this is connected now. Or the camera and empty, sorry. We'll go to the constraints tab. Constraint. And now we're going to add a follow path and a track 2. So follow path and a track 2. So if you go to the follow path, we're going to select the Bezier and click on fixed position. And then if we go down to track 2, you'll select your 3D object. So Suzanne is the monkey head. And now, oh, let me go back actually. If I'm in my constraints. Okay, Suzanne. And I'm going to select my camera and add a, let me see. Yeah, a track 2 and select Suzanne again. So it'll, because sometimes the camera is like, it's like on a weird angle. I don't know why. So if you set it to a track 2, it will always be on the right axis. Okay. So now we're just going to select the Bezier curve. This we can just move out of the way. Oh, actually, it's all connected. So if you select your Bezier, you can hit Tab, and now we can sort of click E, and you can extrude it and change your angles. If you want to make a specific type of camera movement. Oops. I'm just going to keep it pretty small and simple. I'm just going to like scale that up, tab. I'm going to scale this up like this. I'm going to bring Suzanne back in here. And now, okay, that's good. So yeah, this curve is very, it's very simple right now, but you can create whatever you want. And now if you click on your cube, you'll see this offset factor. This is what sort of controls the movement. So you see that the camera now is always, if you go on your camera, you're always connected to your element. So you can do, you know, upside down, anything like that. It would, any movement that you choose will always follow your 3D object. So, you know, it could be even farther. You got more room now. Okay. And then, so now we're just gonna actually do the animation. So bring up this a little bit. Okay, so be sure to be on frame 1. Okay. So the offset should be at 0, 0. Then you can add right click, insert keyframe, then go all the way to your last one. And this, we're going to do only 1, enter, keyframe, and there you go. So now we have the animation set to this rail, this Bezier curve. And again, once this is, now it's set up. So if you modify your curve, it'll always stay focused on your 3D element. You can also, if you see this little, if you go in the corner of your window here, you see this little cross, you can pull, and then you'll have a new scene here. You can click on this icon and go to your graph editor. So this is your Bezier curve basically. So this is the animation. So again, if you want to edit your curve through these movements, you can go in there. And we'll see a different procedure using the graph editor in the next example. So that's it for this one.
It's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, no,
The more
this.
I watch you go through stuff, like it's less intimidating.
No, that's, I mean, that's why, like, I feel like it's been such a good thing to learn. Like, as if I knew this initially when I started, it would have been, I would have saved so much time. But this next camera movement tutorial is also super fun, and maybe goes back to your question initially of like, can you just move around with your arrow or with your mouse or whatever? This will sort of be that version. So I'm just going to make a new file, general, and I'll save. Okay. So now you got a new setup. We'll select the camera, and then on the view tab, where's the view tab? Where am I gone? It's like view tab top left. Oh, right here. Okay. So in cameras, we'll enable active cameras. So now your camera is in view. Keep the camera selected. We're going to right click, camera lens angle, and then this, you'll see you sort of like, you can move around to zoom in and out. This is sort of like how, you know, your focal length. So you'll see you have up in the upper left corner, you have like a counter, or to your right, you also have it in the camera. So I'm just going to go up like this, maybe around 20, 22. You can also just set it by hand if you want. So 20. Oops, I think there we go. Now we're going to go back to the view tab. So right here, we're going to click on navigation, and we're going to go to walk navigation. And now you can move around, and you see that you can sort of shift around your camera. Oh, okay, wait. So I in the tutorial I said if you don't have a hotkey assigned to it, I would just go back into view, navigation here, walk navigation. You can right click and then you can change your shortcut or add a shortcut. So for me, I said Shift F because supposedly that was the original like hotkey in it. So you can do that very easily. Mine's already set up, so I can just leave it as is. Okay, so I'm gonna, since this tutorial, sometimes when you move your camera around, I just want a longer frame time. So I'm just gonna set it to 500 down here. So I have more time to move the camera around and not be stuck in this like loop. Okay, so when you select your camera, click on this auto keying, so record. Now you can use, if you do space to start the animation, then now you can, oops, okay, wait, let me start that again, sorry, that's my bad. So select the camera, then you got to do the hotkey. So Shift F, this is enabled. Actually, I'm going to do, okay, sorry, this part's a little tricky, but once you do it a few times, it gets simpler. So select your camera, space, so your animation's going, Shift F. Now you're recording all your movements. So you can do AWSD to do zooming or turning around or backing up. And then we'll pause this. Okay, so I didn't go all the way to the 500 frames, but we'll see. Did everybody get the AWSD to work, like the navigation?
So you're doing that and then you're just using your mouse and just looking.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, did that work? Yeah. So this one has like a little more steps to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's really good. So again, I'm just going to create a new window, go into my graph editor, and now you'll see all this. This is your movement. So it's a little jagged. So something that's really practical is you need everything to be selected, and then you'll press Shift Alt O, and then you'll just keep, and then you press Alt O again and just hold on to it. So you'll see it smooths out all your curves. So just do it like, just keep your fingers on it for like, maybe a good 10 seconds or whatever. It'll really smooth out all your angles. So now the camera movement is really smooth compared to, I'm gonna go back here, because initially you would have had all those little curves, all those little angles. It would have been really choppy.
And I have to press that. You have to open the side window and see these graphs.
Yeah, you could have that window anywhere, but yeah, you should open a side window and then go to your graph editor.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, and if I don't think that this is smooth enough, just Alto again and just keep it going, and then you'll see all your dots sort of get really smooth. Okay, so my animation sort of starts at 70, so I'm just going to bring that to 70, and I'm going to bring this to 250, or maybe I'll go 300 again. So again, you can maybe combine this tutorial to the other tutorial and set your camera to your 3D object, so it would always be centered. Like right now I went off center, so it's not really like perfect, but it's just to show that you could just use your your mouse and AWSD keys to create like a smooth and quick animation. But yeah, again, that's totally customizable. And once your camera's set, you can, modify your curves, you can modify pretty much anything you want. So it's very adaptable, which is great.
That's super easy. I like that you can smooth it out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. But again, if you try it again, just be sure to go through the steps. Sometimes, yeah, when you add your hotkey, the Shift F, just be sure to select it, and then you start your animation, then you can start moving around. So, but yeah, it just took me a few times to do it, and once you have it, it works really well. So, so yeah, those were basically the 4, short tutorials that I wanted to present today. I don't know if there's any questions, or I'm gonna stop the screen. Oops, stop share. Okay. Yeah, I hope it worked for everybody. Sorry, it was like a little stressful, but
I think you did well. Like, it's definitely clear. I found it clear to understand. So I'm definitely going to attempt to, next week, I'm going to try to do the letters and the camera movement with the.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, even your, like in my animation, you can just select your text, and I just put it like on a slight axis angle, so you can animate your text. So again, when the light sort of goes around, if the word is sort of moving slightly, it'll catch different angles of the light. So that's and with different materials, you'll get different effects. Yeah, so there's like a lot to do. This is just like very like simple stuff to get your creative like process going.
I feel inspired to do some 3D stuff. And like I'm interested in combining 3D and 2D. And I guess like I've seen some ways, and I know you can put things in the blender. So I have to do some more experimenting, but this was very helpful.
Yeah, no, yeah, there's just so much you can do. Like, I wanted to do with these camera movements, I wanted to try to like create more of like a labyrinth, and like it'd be super easy. It'd just be like a wall, and then you just extrude it. So you just keep turning and extruding, and then having your camera centered, and then you could just sort of go in, turn around, and just follow this path, and sort of, and then after that you model your whole scene. You can set images for your walls, you can make textures, whatever you set up your lighting. But yeah, that's just another fun thing that I haven't had time to try, but it's been in the back of my mind. So
well, tell us before you go, what are you doing now in school? What are your future projects?
Yeah, I'm in intermedia, and also last year I started in intermedia and I transferred into computation arts. So it's sort of vague. Both of these are very open sort of disciplines. I have like a performance class, I have electronics class, I have a Max MSP class. I'm learning like HTML and like coding. So there's a lot of. Initially, I thought I was going to be able to have more like Blender classes and TouchDesigner classes, and I feel like that actually might be more in animation. Anyways, so it's like, yeah, it's a little I'm never actually doing what I want to, but I'm always finding new things to include into what I am creating. So
Yeah.
So a lot of these Blender and TouchDesigner things that I've been doing are basically just like my weekend projects. And then when I can, I try to include them as much as possible into the school stuff.
Yeah. Are you guys doing any like generative coding?
Not yet. I'd love to do that.
There's someone here I've asked to do a workshop. It'll be in person, but I do want to record like, as much as I can, like outside.
I'll watch that.
Yeah, it seems interesting. So that is all new, and like, yeah, like all of this tech is very.
Yeah, no, I'm super interested in that stuff too. There's just so much going on. But again, like right now, just like learning the basics of like coding and JavaScript and HTML and CSS and all that stuff. Yeah, it's super inspiring, and hopefully just understanding like how, you know, code works. It's like when you start using Blender or whatever, it's like all these nodes, like how do you connect things together and how is it actually working? So I feel like this coding stuff is the same. You know, a lot of artists I follow on, you know, let's say Twitter, they post all their stuff on GitHub, and then you can just download assets and get, but then I'm like, I don't know what to do with this code, you know, so I have to, I need somebody to like show me how to start, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to record it as nicely as possible. Okay. You know,
Do you know what program or like how they're doing this, or?
Oh, he told me there was a program that was really simple. It was just something that you downloaded from your browser, and it was really small. I can't remember what it's called. He has an Instagram, I think. Jeff Pelvin, but it's spelled like Geop.
Okay, well,
I don't know if it's that. I think it starts with an S. I could be totally wrong. P5J.
There's so many programs these days. It's wild.
It's definitely free and simple, especially if we want people to download it. And
yeah.
I'm trying to encourage.
Yeah, I love that everything is very open source these days, and it's like easy to. Oh, P5J, is that it? Maybe.
I don't think that's it.
No.
I think I
No,
already.
I'm super interested in this, and yeah, with all the like, you know, more AI like generative art stuff, it's really cool. I
know some people are hating on the AI. Like, there's one artist that I'm going to work with for a separate thing later, and what he's doing is, yes, he does have an AI generated image, but then he collages on top of it. So instead of just having the computer do everything, which people seem to get mad at, but really, like, I guess I view it as, it's like Blender or Photoshop. It's just another tool. Oh, yes, it's like doing art, and some of the AI drawings are crazy and some are really good, but it's interesting when people take it and incorporate it into their practice.
Yeah,
it's new, right?
It's a very, you know, it's very like political, you know, it's like,
yes,
is this art, you know, but I feel like, I mean, I for one like that sort of aesthetic and stuff, but I haven't really implemented it in my working, you know, in my art yet, really. I've just been doing like, you know, little tests here and there, but yeah, I'd love to be able to like go inside and sort of manipulate, you know, a little more like with the coding and stuff like that. So yeah, make it more your own and not just this whole generative thing that you don't control anything really. So
no, exactly.
But yeah, like, and like, let's say like one of my maybe like final projects for this semester, I'm gonna try to work on like a particle system. I've done some tests in TouchDesigner, and then I've done some tests a little bit in Max MSP, and I'm not sure how I can combine both, so I might have to find a way to do that, or I'm just gonna have to, because this class is mostly like a Max MSP one, so I'm gonna have to create my reactive particle system in Max, but I want to do like a sensor activated sort of particle system. So it would be like, let's say you walk in front of the sensor, it would like disperse or attract.
Oh, I see. Ooh.
Yeah, which is cool. Like right now I found like one patch that like it follows your mouse around, but then instead of the mouse, I'd like it to input like the sensor as the main trigger. So
that sounds cool.
Yeah, that's like stuff I've been working on like this week.
There's, oh gosh, I could probably look it up. A while back at a gallery here in town, it was two artists, and I think they were from the States, but they had a sensor and you could walk in front of it, but it was almost like, it was like lines. So instead of a particle, it was like a line, and like it created, like it would move, and like you kind of saw like what would be like your shadow, but it was still kind of randomized, but it was like a line, almost like a rainfall kind of thing. Anyways.
No, yeah, it's probably the same type of project. I mean, there, you know, you see a lot of examples online, but again, I want to make it my own. You know, I don't want to just copy what somebody else did. You know, so that's the hard
doing
part.
Different things.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll have to send us stuff when you finish. Send it to me so we can share it.
For sure. Yeah, that'll be super fun. And once I have that coded, I'd like to use it for my interactive performance class, and maybe doing more of like a body movement, which would, the digital and the body would sort of come together,
Yes, Ashley, yeah. Yes, it was two of them, right.
Okay, I'm gonna look these people up. Yes. Oh, okay, perfect.
It was In Play, yeah, that's what it was called. And I guess it was like a bunch of LED screens put together. It was black and
Nice.
white.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure they got videos out there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Thank you, Ashley. I could not think of their names.
Oh yeah, that looks cool. Yeah. Nice. How's the scene over there? There's like a lot of events. Like, I've never been, and I'd love to go.
You should visit. Well, now that we're coming out of summer, it's calmed down a little bit, but it's good for me in this project. We just had an arts festival that was like all downtown, and so it's less digital, but it was more like there's this person out here outdoors outside a cafe, or there's somebody doing a performance in a coffee shop, that kind of vibe. Great turnout. And so I think we've increased some of our membership and folks who are interested. But no, the scene is pretty good. We have our exhibition. I'm planning these workshops. I think I have 2 more planned right now for October.
Okay.
I'm trying to spread them out. And it is a mixture of online events and in-person events. Gonna try to document as much as possible. But no, it's pretty chill over here. Oh, let me show you what it looks like.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see the space. Yeah.
So I'm in our little office, and there's our little 3D printer that we put together. Whenever you're ready, we can talk about those files. And here we have Laura.
Hi.
And there's Ashley.
Hi. Oh, it's a pretty big space.
Yeah, this is our studio space. So we have resident artists kind of over here on this side with these walls. And then we have a library over there. And so we usually do workshops or hold festival events here. And then we have our gallery space on the other side.
Cool.
But yeah, there's definitely an interest in the community to learn more about new media and the new technology we have and what people are doing with art. So yeah, like how to incorporate it. We have a lot of like crafts and textiles and painters and printmakers, but I think there's definitely folks working with digital tech out there, but I'd like to bring it into the light a bit more.
Yeah, because I mean, you can cross all those things together. There's so much you can do. Like, my partner loves, like, she's really into like fabrics and materiality, and like, so she wanted to do like not like garments, but like these blankets that would be like touch sensitive and would emit sound, or would like. Yeah, so it's like these things are like really fun to like put together, and create like a new thing. So
and it's always exciting because technology is always advancing, and so what you can do with it and how it interacts with the arts as we progress is always exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's great that there's so many like online communities, and it's so easy to just get in contact with people, or just like follow different accounts, and like just like yeah.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Michael, Ashley?
Thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't participate very much, but I was listening the whole time.
Oh,
and thank you so much.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll put it up and people will check it out, and it'll exist as like part of the Mainframe resource.
That's awesome. Yeah, put up the PDF and the video, and you can link to some of my things and for examples or whatever.
Oh yes, yeah. And I'm probably gonna rewatch this 30 times to try to get the text on the title and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll rack up some views.
Awesome.
It's a good resource. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be in touch with you anyway.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll talk by email.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.